So, you can be very serious and very funny at the same time. You don't have to be both all of the time. This goes back to talking about like stories and stuff. Maybe I'll just have a different perspective on this because I'm a writer myself. Maybe it's, I don't know, I wouldn't say I have a better perspective, but I have a more intimate knowledge of exactly what goes into crafting a story. Not to big myself up too much, but I'm a bloody good writer. A pillow.
This one seems shaped to be slightly more comfortable.
It's a piece of wood. Or metal or something. How is that a pillow? Yes, any budding storytellers, narrators, whatever, narrativers out there, people who want to craft a story, keep it consistent. Don't just throw in random curveballs, or if you do throw in random curveballs, make sure that they fit in the setting. Sometimes you have a sudden change of pace, it can happen. Just make sure that it's not completely out of nowhere. Set a precedent for it and blend it in. Yeah. You don't want to just switch like halfway through to suddenly being a complete comedy. You want to have had comedic moments in there to begin with. It's the same way you don't really want to start telling a sci-fi story with big explosions and lasers and aliens and stuff, and then suddenly go back to a modern day setting with people dealing with regular everyday problems like taking their kids to school. There's no reason you can't have a space setting with those kind of elements. Space Precinct did that fantastically. I mean, underneath all of it, that was basically, it was a police procedural. It just happened to be set in space with aliens and laser guns and stuff. Just...
There's a picture of two girls.
That was the one that really drove it home to me.
Belonged to a father. The names on the picture, Millie and Coco. I found their toys.
You never find out, as far as I'm aware. You never find out. All you know is that they were there. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out. The Sun Queen, every woman, every female brought to this island, you know what happened to them, right? We saw the bit with Sam. Yeah. That's how you do subtle. Everything you need to know has been shown throughout the narrative. We know what happened to those kids. They don't need to tell us. It's far more powerful because of that. What happened to the father, though? That is left more ambiguous. Is the father dead? Was he one of those... Was he just killed on sight? Is he one of those rabid, mindless creatures that are now living in the bowels, in those cages and stuff? Is he one of the cultists? Was he the one who brought his children willingly to sacrifice in the thought that one of them could be Himiko? Did he bring one of his children, did he bring one of his little girls there hoping that she could be that, so that they could all get away? How do you make a decision like that? Seriously, how do you decide something like that? You can't, really. And I think it's very good that they did leave that out.
Of the research facility.
It would have been far too ham-fisted.
Were they sent here to investigate the
really
storms?
gets me about this game is they had something like that. That was so beautifully done. I know that seems like an odd word, but I mean beautiful from an artistic perspective. And I don't mean artistic as in arty, I mean it goes back to, again, words, artistic, a work of art, something that was crafted, created with care, with forethought, with consideration, to how it fits into everything else. It's a beautiful piece of artistry. And then there are so many other things in this that are so ridiculously heavy-handed, like the whole, Lara falling down cliffs and rupturing her spleen and having like a heart transplanted into one of her lungs, and having to rebuild her leg with a toothpick and a pair of pliers and all that sort of stuff. Again, it's one of those disconnects. There's so much potential here, and most of it was squandered. But it feels a lot to me like too many chefs swallow the broth, as they say. Still, besides all that, they did do a really good job. Room for improvement, but there's always room for improvement. However, this one has room to improve things that shouldn't have needed improving. That's the difference. Especially considering what Square have done with Square and Eidos have done with other games. Actually, they've done better than this in other areas already. But you know, I think it was just the two groups working together. There was some problems arranging between them. Come on, Kiwi, figure it out. That allows you to go in water. It's pretty much what you have to do here. You lift that up long enough for you to get through the water. Then you pull the watchamajig that you can stand on. Then you do the stuff and the things. Understand? Cool, you got it. You know exactly what I mean, don't you? Yeah. I'm so descriptive, aren't I? I'm so great at explaining these things. Even a cat could understand exactly what you need to do now, couldn't they? Yeah? Agree? Disagree? I don't know. This was a really well designed section actually. It was extremely atmospheric. It also reminded me of the puzzles you used to get in the earlier Tomb Raider games, which are something that are a little bit lacking in this one, which is unfortunate. Again, we need more puzzles in games. We need games... No, I'm not going to use the bleeding survival instincts. You can nap off. Yeah, I did actually go through this entire game without using them. I used them once when I thought you had to. Rather than that, nope, don't need them. I just don't need them because I'm not a moron. I have a brain. So, but that's the kind of thing that should be turned off. That was one of the things I liked about Mirror's Edge. You have the runner view. If you played it on hard, you didn't get it. You know, it's showing you things being red and blue and stuff that you could interact with. I liked that. I thought that was a really great idea. There we go. Now you got it, Kiwi. Pull that underneath there so that it can't make the water. See? I didn't need my survival instincts. I figured it out for myself. Because, to be fair, it was actually really easy. It was very straightforward. It was obvious what you needed to do. Once I had a look at everything that was in the environment and everything that I could do with it, there you go. Doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It just takes a few moments. It takes a little bit of brain power. Use your grey matter. This is a problem I definitely have with games these days. They're far too focused on making themselves easy and accessible.
A storage room.
I get that.
Artifacts from an ancient
I think that they should be more accessible. I think they should be as accessible as possible. I think that in a lot of ways games should be a lot simpler. But that doesn't mean they should insult your intelligence. Wait, that was a tomb? Fair enough, that was a tomb then. Huh. Oh well. Huh. There we go, another tomb raided. You know what got me? Lots of people complaining about the lack of tombs in this game. It's like, oh? Oh? What? What do you mean there's what? Seriously. It's full of tombs. I think what they mean by tombs is there was nothing like in the early games where you had thingamabob, watchamajig. Like your ancient creatures and stuff. Different kinds of tombs in this. But they're still tombs. You know? Just saying. And ooh, I've just been made aware of a... Wait, deep silver? I thought this was grasshopper. Killer is dead. Isn't that a Suda 51 game? Or am I thinking of something else? Huh. Fair enough. Cell shaded. It's not available on the PC though, which is irritating. I seem to be having fun during the recording. I can just about hear myself in the background talking about stuff. Can't make out what I was saying, but I seem to be having fun with it. So yeah, don't know what that was all about. Just one of those things, I guess. I've lost my train of thought now. But hey, I've managed to keep going almost without pause for the better part of an hour now. Where am I up to? We're at 50.5 minutes. Still have an hour left to go though. That's fine. I can do it. Maybe I won't do it all right now, but I can do it. Actually, I might take a break and come back and do the rest in a little bit, because I'm getting a bit peckish. But I kind of want to get this finished now. I've let this drag on for far too long, and it's about time I work through it. Oh, I'm back here. Finally got to meet Alex. Now there you go. That's one of the things I mean. The disconnect between the urgency of what's happening in the narrative and the actual events going on around me. I've taken the time to go raid a tomb, but it doesn't feel inconsistent in the same way as others do, because I was trying to make my way there and I just found that along the way, and I was like, well, maybe this is the way to go. In the real world, I wouldn't have had a message pop up on screen saying that it was a tomb, would I? No, I'd have just gone in there looking for a way through. It looked like, you know, it's actually a more logical thing to do in a situation like this, because it gets me inside, which means I can't be seen from as far away by the enemies, and it's going to be a safer location than being on the side of a cliff and all that kind of stuff. So, you know. Still, it could be seen as a bit of a break in narrative flow, even though it's not, but it is, but it's not. So, I don't know, what do you think? Is it a break in narrative flow, or does it still feel consistent for you? It feels consistent for me, but that's me, I can say that, and that's the great thing about art, it's entirely subjective. It's open to interpretation, and I like hearing different people's interpretations, especially